أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. Alhamdulillah, we start by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we send our salam and salawat on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our sins and shortcomings and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have mercy on us and take us these efforts and time that all of us are giving, inshallah ta'ala, as good deed from all of us and have mercy and forgiveness on us in this world and in the akhirah, inshallah ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, we are on our week 3 today. So Alhamdulillah, I just got the message that one of our brothers had just joined this week, but he has seen the videos. So brothers or sister, if you are joining just this week, that's not a problem, inshallah. As you can see the video, if you have any questions, please ask me in the WhatsApp, and I will try my best to give you some extra time if you need to understand those tools video. Anything that we have covered so far in the last week, if you need some extra help, just message me in the WhatsApp group, and I have sent you the WhatsApp link to join the WhatsApp group. You can ask me question not in that group, but individually you can send me a message, and inshallah I'll try my best to give some time and so that you can catch up and do so. So we'll continue our studies of status that we have started last week, because we said that the four properties of isms, the best one, the biggest one, not the best one, sorry, the biggest one, the most amount of time that will take the status, then the number, gender and type will be easy, inshallah ta'ala. So we'll do a quick review first, and then we'll jump into our new lessons for today. And again, I apologize if there are any brothers and sisters any inconvenience, because I had something to do. I couldn't finish my work on time today, so I was a bit late coming from work. And so that's why we had to postpone 1 hour. Inshallah, we'll go back to a normal time, hopefully from next week, no problem. Okay, that's why please keep yourself, in the group of the WhatsApp group so that we can communicate about this kind of issues. So inshallah, let's start. So we talked about the review. So we have to have a clear intention that we're doing it for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the only way you can be benefited from this basic course, the fundamental course of understanding the Quran, is as long as you have patience and commitment to attend each session that we're able to do for the next 30-40 weeks, inshallah ta'ala. And then you have the commitment to listen to the talk, and also some of the exercise that I'm giving. Sometimes there must be some time that you have to give to learn, and to memorize few of the things and to understand few of the things, do some exercise. And if you do that much, inshallah ta'ala, it will be easy for you, and it will be beneficial for you, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, and always try to learn and teach others as well, because that is the best way to remember. So we start with only three kinds of words in Arabic. We know that Arabic has three kinds of words, and they are called ism, fail, and harf. Now we all know the definition of isms. Everything comes under ism if it is a person, place, pronoun, thing, idea, adjective, adverb, all like this. Okay. Fail, we said that we just know the definition for fail, which is an active verb, something that you're doing in the present or past. Okay, but we're not going to touch fail or know nothing about fail now. When you go to the half of this course, inshallah, once we finish ism, then we'll start our fail history. But at this moment, we know there is a kind of words called fail, and it's nothing but an active action verb, you can say, something that happened in the past, like I prayed, okay, or he ran, something in the past or present and in future. Okay, and we're going to talk about it when the time comes. And harf, as we said, is kind of like not the main dish, but it's important. It's a side dish. It has to work with either ism and foil. It doesn't make any sense by itself. It has a meaning by itself, but doesn't make any sense unless it comes after a word. Okay, so there's a word after it. There's a word after the harf. Okay, and we're going to talk about harf very soon, inshallah ta'ala, in the next few weeks while we're studying the ism, and then we'll talk about harf again. We're going to studying the fail, inshallah ta'ala. So there's half for ism and half for fail as well. Okay. Then we talked about the four properties of an ism: status, number, gender, and type, and we're dealing with the status at the moment. These are few of the clues that we know about. Actually, let's go back about the the ism, how we can recognize ism. These are some of the clues, not all of the clues. Like for example, if you see a word with tanween, meaning double fatha, double kasra, double dhamma, that is obviously an ism. There are one or two exceptions, but it's 99.99% time it is an ism. Okay, same thing if you see a word with an al in it, okay, so there's a al before the word, then it is definitely an ism, definitely an ism. Fail doesn't have this on things. And then we're going to learn some of the vocabularies as well. In status, the first properties of ism, we define the status. There's three forms of status. You know, when the ism is doing something, is called doer. Or if it is, if there is no way to find the details or after of, then by default status is rafa. Okay, and we saw some of the examples. Okay, and in English sentences. Then we have details, which is something in a sentence, if you have an action and you ask the action, how did it do, who did it, when did it, what happened, okay, all this kind of question that give you the detail is called nasab. And if a word comes after the English word of, okay, or if a word has some connection as a possessive pronoun, or it is something that an ownership thing, then that status is called jar. And we're going to see the examples of jar and in coming weeks also. Okay, so by doing this one, we had some English example in week 1, and we can identify what is a rafa, what is a nasr and jar in our English examples, which is easy for us because we all know English more or less, right? And in English we can easily see this is the subject, so this is the doer, this is the nasab. Okay, this because this is the details. And, oh, this is the word that comes after of, or there's an apostrophe s, okay, or it's like a his or her or my, our, something, a possessive pronoun, right? So it's easy in English, but how do you do it in the Arabic? And that's why we talked about the status and the charts of the status. Okay, before we go there, we just want to look at this in one go. So, you know, three kinds of word: ism, fail, and harf. There are four properties of ism: status, number, gender, and type. We're still dealing with status, and I think this week and inshallah week next week also, I have inshallah planned that, you know, today we're going to try to finish up the concept of status, but you know, we need one more week to, you know, revise all the status thing, and we're going to do some more exercise also next week. And then in status, we have three forms of status, which are rafa, nasab, and jar. And we saw some charts which I'm going to show you now soon, very soon, that, you know, we did it last week, and we had some exercise on the chart that, you know, to find out by looking at the word, that, you know, by ending sound or combination, whether it's rafa, nasab, or chart. And I'm going to go through the chart again now, because this is very important that you understand the chart. Okay, and the two new things about status, we're still in status, we're going to talk about today light and heavy, and also we'll talk about flexibility. Okay, these are our new lessons today. But before we go to the new lesson, we need to check our charts that we memorized last week, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, and we had an exercise about the exercise. If you have any particular question that, you know, why it's not there, please message me in the WhatsApp, because if I have time today, I'll go back to the exercise and show you, because if I want to go each of the question now in the exercise, okay, it's gonna take some time. Okay, so we'll leave it as it is. And I saw the scores, some of the brothers and sisters, mashallah, they got full score. Some of you had some mistakes. If you do not understand why you made a mistakes, okay, just message me. Okay, the brother, question number this I didn't understand. Okay, and then, you know, if we have time today, inshallah, after the session, if you have 5 minutes maybe, then you can ask the question also now. Okay, so I'll just quickly go for it, and we'll do some exercise on the screen today as well. Okay, so we talked about this one in English. It's very easy, and then we saw our chart. So I'm just going to skip through this one, how to find the status. So there are two ways to find the status. And before that, we need to know a few things about gender and number, that, you know, in Arabic, everything must have a gender, masculine and feminine, which I mentioned before. So in everything, doesn't matter. It's not like English. So even if it's an inanimate object like a pen or a book or a sky or sun or the moon, everything has a gender. Every word has a gender. Okay. Biologically, it's not a gender. Okay. It's not a feminine thing probably, or it's not a masculine, but grammatically it must have a gender called masculine or feminine. Okay, also, just unlike English, we have singular and plural in English, but in Arabic we have something between singular and plural, called dual and pair. Okay, then we said that, you know, we have a chart. We're going to look at it now. This is the chart that, you know, we're looking at the chart, we can say whether it is rafa, nasab, or jar, or it's a singular, dual, or plural. And when you look at a word, again, brothers and sisters, is very important. We look at the ending combination. Okay. So this is the masculine chart. Okay, and in the masculine chart, we said also one important thing: the plural of the masculine chart. The plural of the masculine chart includes masculine and feminine. In Arabic, any plural for masculine word, it includes masculine and feminine. So it could be five brothers, it could be three brothers and two sisters. So these are all inclusive. When it comes to feminine, it's exclusively feminine. Okay, so when it comes to, like, if I'm talking about five sisters, okay, then they're only, you have to use the feminine word. You can't have the masculine word for those because they're exclusively only sisters. For male, okay, it could be only male, it could be male and female together. Okay, now the combination is at the end of the word, at the end of the word. Okay, and that's the one we should look for first. Okay, not the sound first. Sound is easy because sound is either un sound or an sound or in sound, and these are singular. Un means rafa, an means nasab, in means jar. Simple is that. Okay, but we don't look for the sound first. If you look at a word like you had in exercise, you see, do I see any of my combination? How many combination we have? We have only two combination for dual and two for plural for masculine chart. So two and two is four. On the other side, in the feminine chart, we have two for dual and again two for plural. So four here and four in there. So four for masculine chart and four for feminine chart. These are the eight combination we have. And actually, they are very similar in sounds. Okay, only in feminine, there's one extra letter, ta. Other than that, it's the same. So if we see a word which ending with alif and noon with a kasra, noon which is ani, ani, like muslimani. There's alif there. It's not the meme is not the last letter. Okay, alif and noon. That means it is in rafa and it is in dual status, meaning dual is number is dual and it is masculine because it's from the masculine chart. Ani is a masculine combination. Okay, and it is rafa. If it is aini, meaning ya had a sukun because of the first letter. Okay, and the noon again with a kasra, or in pesh that you call in Urdu and Bangla pesh, or kasra, aini, then it's either nasab or jar. So the question again, whether it's nasab or jar, we'll talk about it. How to define between nasab and jar, that's in the next lesson coming up. We don't need to worry about it now. So if I give you a word which ending with aini, then the answer should be, if I ask what is the status, it should be either nasab or jar. Okay. For plural, we have una, and I put double O there because there's a wa there. Okay, it's not muslimuna, there's a wa, so muna, so there's a mad. Okay, so muslimuna is rafa. So any word you say una is rafa. For example, if you open the Quran, okay, just start reading the first few lines of Surah Al-Baqarah. Alif Lam Mim, Zalikal Kitabu La Rayba Fi Hudan Lil Muttaqina. Ina. If you look at the word muttaqina, we stop muttaqin because that's a reading rule. When you ayah finish, you stop there. But if you open the Quran right now and you see the word, it's called muttaqina. Ulaika humul muflihuna. So una, ina is there. So muttaqina is in either nasab or jar star because the ina ending. Muflihuna is in a una star. So it's the rafa status in the plural form. So these combinations are really important. This chart, we said there are four versions of this chart. We did two versions, masculine and feminine last week. So let's look at the feminine one before we go to the next two versions. So this was the feminine one, which is again the ending sound and ending combination. And we said any word in the Quran that has this ta marbuta, not the normal ta, the ta that looks like a small circle, or you can call it a hijabita, it's like a something wrapped up. The last one, like the muslimatun, is called ta marbuta. Muslimatun, muslimatan, muslimatin. Okay. If you see any word like this is a feminine word for sure. Okay. If you see a ta marbuta. Okay. Now the ta one, the normal ta, if you see at the end, that is also there, but that's for the plural combination. For singular, just like we had singular masculine, singular feminine is also tun, un, and in sound. So muslimatun, un sound, rafa, an sound is nasab, in sound is jar. For dual, we had ani before, but here we have an extra letter, tani. So ta, alif, and nun. So tani is rafa, tiny, and tiny is nasab and jar. You can see that ta, yeah. So just an extra letter. It's the same ani thing, but there's an extra letter ta, just for the feminine thing. For plural is little bit different. It's atun, not una here. Una was the masculine. So atun. There's alif and a normal ta. Normal ta, not ta marbuta. Alif and a normal ta. Alif ba ta, the third letter of the Arabic letter, right? Alif ba ta. Muslimatun, atun, and then atin and atin is the nasab and jar. But a lot of brothers and sisters make mistakes in the plural and the singular, because if you look at the plural and the singular say muslimatun, and the plural also say muslimatun. But you have to understand, you always look for combination, and one of the combination is atun. You have alif and a normal ta. In the singular column, there's no alif before the ta. It's just a ta marbuta, isn't it? So muslimatun. And so this is the difference. Although both of them sound familiar, sound the same. Okay, if you properly sound, then you should say muslimatun, because for the alif you had a long alif. It's called mad, right? And the first one has no mad. But still, if you look at the word, then you can easily see the alif, and you can also see the normal ta. So that's the difference. Ta marbuta is for singular column. Normal ta with an alif before it is plural column. Okay, so these are the two versions of our chart, masculine and feminine. And the exercise that I have given you, and many of you have done it, alhamdulillah. If you haven't done it, okay, especially for brothers or sisters, if you're joining today, you can do it tomorrow, maybe, or maybe day after. Okay, just take an attempt after the lessons today, because that's why I'm trying to do a review. Okay, even if you make a lot of mistakes, but you'll understand your mistakes. Okay, so please, I encourage all of you to take the exercise. It takes not even 10 minutes. Okay, so just sit down and do it. The link is in the WhatsApp group. Okay, if someone needs the link again, let me know and I'll send it again. Okay, and I'll do another exercise inshallah before our next class. Okay, so this was our chart. We call it Muslim chart, the masculine version and the feminine version. There's two more version of it that we're going to talk about. But before we go to these two version, we need to understand a concept. So these are again, the charts are here. We did this one, and we did a quick exercise. This one, if you remember, the Muslim lady travel. So I'm just going to skip through this. This is the same chart here. Okay, and it's just in English, but this is also important, because you can have the English word here with the English spelling, so you can see that tani and tiny, atun and atan, okay, antin. So I think this should be atin. It's a mistake here on the right hand side. It's a mistake. Muslimatan, it's muslimatin. Okay, and then we go to we did this one also. That's quick. So this is a week 3. So to go to the next version of this chart, so there's two more versions for the same chart, same masculine and feminine, but there's two more versions. This concept of status is called light versus heavy. Okay, so what is light and heavy means? By default, any ism, light and heavy, is a property of an ism. Why? Because it's a part of status, and status can only be for ism, right? If a word has tanween, we say that word is an ism 99.99% time. Okay, and if the word has tanween, meaning double fatha, double kasra, or double dhamma, or double jabr, double j, double pesh, whatever way to say it, okay, then that is a heavy word. That word is a heavy word, where you have a tun, tan, or un sound, un, in sound. Okay, it's a heavy word. By default, words are heavy. By default, that's the okay. Sometime you will see the word has not double fatha, not double kasra, rather it has a single one. For muslimu, not muslimun. Okay, musliman become muslima, muslimin become muslimin. So that status is called light status. Some reasons for it happen. I think there's some issue with the sound. Just give me one second. Can you all hear me fine?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay. So the light versus heavy. So I was saying, so if any word has a tanween, as you can see some examples there, these are heavy word. Okay. Also, any word, this dual and the plural column of our previous chart, when you have the full combination, ani, aini, una, ina, those are also heavy words. Then how it becomes light? Every word that has a noon sound at the end, like noon sound. Okay, if you take the noon sound out of the combination, out of the word, then that word becomes light. Okay, why does it word become light? There are 4 reasons a heavy ism became a light ism. There are 4 reasons. How many reasons? 4 reasons. Okay, I'm not going to tell what are the reasons now. The two of the reasons or three of the reasons out of the four, three reasons we're going to be learning in next couple of weeks, inshallah ta'ala. Why a word become light. Okay. At this stage, we just need to identify whether it's a heavy word or a light word. Okay. Simple is that. If you see an ism with a tanween, it's a heavy. Or if the word has any of the combination that we just learned last week, whether it's ani or aini, una or ina, atun or atin, or tani or tiny. Okay, so if you see any of these 8 combination, then it's a heavy word. Okay, so heavy becomes sometimes due to the ending sound, double fatha, double kasra, double dhamma, or heavy due to ending combination. The words end with a letter noon, so it is heavy. For example, kalimatani, kitabaini. Look at the last example. Okay, kitabaini, muslimuna, all these words. Okay, so in all of them has combination. Kalimatani has ani or tani combination. Then this one has aini combination. This one has una combination. Okay, so all the words that we have learned so far from the chart are heavy words. How does they become light? If you take the noon sound out, how are you going to take the noon sound out? You can do two things. Number one, the double fatha, double kasra, double dhamma, if they become single, then they don't have any un sound. They become light. Or from the combination, the dual column and the plural column, if you take the last letter noon out of the equation, then they become light as well. And I'm going to show you the same chart, how it's become light. Okay, and we need to know the light. I said there are 4 reasons a heavy word becomes light. Okay, and we said out of the 4, 3 reasons we're going to learn in next couple of weeks, inshallah. One of them will run later in the course, inshallah. Okay, and I'll tell you why they become light. As for now, for this lesson, you just have to know what is light and what is heavy. Okay, so for example, in some special cases we can make an ism light, meaning we remove the noon sound of the end. We have to be careful which kind of noon we are remove. We can only remove the noon if it comes from an ending tanween like fatha, kasra, dhamma, double, or from an ending combination. In the word Qur'anan, okay, the noon at the end is a part of the word, so we cannot remove it. What does it mean? So what they're saying, all these words we learned from the chart: muslihina, solihina, muflihina, muslimatan, muslimataini. Okay, these words, the ending combination are the extra addition. There are some words, the noon, the last noon is part of the spelling. In that case, you cannot take the noon out. Okay, in that case, it's not a part of the. This noon is not part. For example, imagine the name Mamun. Mamun. Okay, if you take the noon out, Mamu. Okay, so it's not the right spelling, right? The noon is a part of the spelling. For example, the word name Numan. Okay, it has an n at the end. It's not because of the combination noon. Okay, it's not because of fatha kasra dhamma, right? For example, the word Quran. The word Quran is many times mentioned in the Quran itself, right? The word, if you take the noon out, is being Qur. But this noon is the spelling noon. This is not noon from the combination. So you cannot take that noon out, okay? And it's very easy. Don't complicate yourself, You can easily see which is combination and which is not the part of the noon. Most of the time, it's very easy to understand. All the words, it comes with the combination. If you now know the combination, then you know the word, okay? If it's not of the combination, then it's not that, okay? For example, one of the important, another thing you have to remember, when there is a al before a word, it cannot have tanween. So al and tanween has a big problem between themselves. Okay, whenever the word has a al, okay, this word can never ever have tanween. Tanween means it can never have double fatha, double kasra, double dam. But does it mean that al makes a word light? No, al doesn't make a word light. Okay, al gives you two things. Al means the, and al also tells you that this is an ism. And if I ask you, for example, al kitab, what is the stat? Is this word heavy or light? If I ask you, al kitab or al kitabu, is this word light or heavy? You can say at the beginning, oh brother, there's no fatha kasra dhamma, double fatha, double, so this is light. No, it is not light. Anything, any word that has al, it doesn't have heavy or light status. It is irrelevant. Again, if a word has al before it, and if I ask you, is it a light word or a heavy word? Your answer should be irrelevant. You say, no, brother, it does not matter. This word, because it has a al, So it has no heavy status. It is not light. So it is not light, not heavy, if the word has al in it. Okay. And al and tanween can never be together. So if you have al, you cannot have a double fatha or kasra or dhamma. Double. Single is fine. Okay. And if you put an al with other words, and if I ask you, although you can see that word has a combination, for example, in the screen, you can see al muslimuna. It's a correct word, al muslimuna. And if I ask you, brother, is it heavier? You can say, brother, it's heavy because it's from the combination una. Either, but because the al is there, your answer should be no, it's not heavy, it's not light, it's irrelevant. So al, when al comes, the light and heavy things goes away. Okay. Without al, then it's fine. It could be either heavy or light. When it is heavy, when it has double fatha, double kasra, double dhamma, or it is one of the combination word, ani, aini, una, ina, or like this. Okay. And if it's not there, the noon sound is not there, then it is light. Okay. So let's look at the chart. So we had the chart called Muslimun before. So see, the noon is striked out, right? And I'm going to show you the Arabic one also. Muslim, we had Musliman in Nasab. It's Musliman now. And Muslimin become Muslim. So all the noon thing, I just take it out. So they become light. Okay. Let's look at the chart, then you will understand. So if you see that, okay, on the right hand side, on the left hand side, top left hand side, we have Muslimun. This is a masculine chart. Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini, Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. The right hand side, if you see Muslimu, so I took one kasra, one dhamma out, Muslima and Muslimi. Then we have Muslima. So alif is there, noon is gone. We have Muslimai. Noon is gone from there. There was a noon after that. See, look at this for the comparison. Okay. Muslimai again. Muslimuna become Muslimu. The noon is gone. Muslimina become Muslimi only. Muslimina become Muslimi again. So only the noon was taken out. So this chart is another version of our same masculine chart, but this is masculine light chart. Masculine light chart. Same thing will happen with the feminine chart. Okay, so there's nothing new. You're just making the double haraka a single in the singular column, and taking the noon, the last noon, out of the equation. That's it. So let's look at the feminine one. Muslimatun, muslimatan, muslimatin. It becomes muslimatu, muslimata, muslimati. Muslimatani, we have ta and alif, noon is gone. Muslimatun, and the plural column again, plural column, there's no the muslimatun, it's double tun, right? So we make it muslimatu and muslimati and muslimati. So it's very, very easy. If you know the previous week 2 chart, this is the same chart, just making wherever you see a double fatha kasra dhamma, you make them single, and wherever you see the last letter is noon, and every word has the last letter noon sound, you take it away, and then it became light. Now the tricky part of this, we just did heavy charts last week, and we are doing the light just today. So we come from heavy and we are doing light today. But it could be the other way around also. So if I give you a light word, and if I say make it heavy, you should be able to do that same. You just add the noon sound either by adding a extra kasra or by extra noon. Okay, I think Brother Ashfaq, you have a question? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, sorry to interrupt. I mean,
No, that's fine.
I'm confused. Light and heavy in what sense?
Light and heavy in the sense of, so light and heavy is an English term for that. Okay, it's in the sense of their status, in the sense of how they sound. That's the best way to describe. So light and heavy is the way how they sound. When you have a un sound, an sound, in sound, meaning double sound, this is a heavy sound. And when if we have there's no noon sound at the end, then it's a light sound. So for example, Muslimun, you can easily hear a un sound, right? But if I say
Okay.
Muslimu, you don't have. So in terms of sound, how does it sound in your ear? Okay. And also when you look at the word, like now you're looking at the screen, right? You can easily see there's no double fatha kasra dhamma in the light chart, and there's no noon as the light last letter. Like we had ani, tani, tiny. The noon is gone. Okay, so that's so how it sounds. That's the way heavy and light. Okay. So as I was saying, heavy to light is easy because we are just minusing the noon sound by reducing one haraka or by removing the last noon. But it could be happen that I give you an exercise and a word which is a light, and then you have to think oh, it was heavy with an extra noon, now it became light. So this is the status for that. Okay, for example, if you see a word called muslimatai, muslimatai. Okay, so I'm talking at the last example, it's jar at the feminine. Okay, muslimatai. So you can see, okay, this is tai. Okay, it's ending with a ya sound, so there's no noon at the end. What if there was a noon? So that will be Muslim. Which column it would have been? It can be singular, pair, or plural. So you have to think in your head the both ways. So if you see a noon, and I ask you make it light in your head, you take the noon out. That's easy. But if you see a word, there's no noon. But I say, okay, how was it when it was heavy? For some reason it became light. We say there are 4 reasons that things became light. So it was heavy in the beginning. Somehow someone made it light. So what was the heavy thing? How was the heavy look? Oh, it was an extra noon with a fatha. It was muslimataini. Now there's no ni. I have muslimati. Oh, it was muslimatun. The normal ta has 2 dhamma. Now it's only one dhamma because it became light. Okay. So this is how we need to understand light and heavy. Okay, and that is the concept of light and heavy. Actually, it's a very small concept, but it's very important, because in a couple of weeks time we will see why the word becomes light. And if you open the Quran, for example, the first word in the Quran, bismi, there's no bismin, right? It's a bismi. Okay, I'm just giving the example, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Okay, it's light word, bismi. It's not heavy. So why is light? Light, and we're going to talk about it soon. Okay, for example, alhamdu. Look at the word alhamdu. It has a al. So if I ask you, is alhamdu is light or heavy? What will be the answer? Can anybody answer me? The word alhamdu, is it light word or heavy word? Anyone?
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant. Why, brother, irrelevant?
Because it has al at the
Yes.
beginning, and yeah.
Very good. Very good. Okay. So alhamdu is irrelevant, because you're correct, because it has al. So when it's al, we forget about heavy and light. It's not heavy, it's not light. But how about rabbi? The word rabbi, is it light or heavy?
It is light because there is no n
Double.
sound.
Yes, very good. It's light
Yeah.
because there's no double fatha, double kasra, no un sound, no
Un
noon
sound.
sound at all. Okay, so perfect. So perfect. That's the one. Okay, so with this light and heavy, if you go back to your, if you have done the exercise, I have given in this all the heavy words. Okay, so if you go back to your exercise that you had done last week, you can see all the heavy words, because we didn't know about light and heavy. Okay, so next week we're gonna have word, and I'm gonna do some exercise today also. But before I do the other exercise, I want to do the other concept, what is flexibility. And then we're going to do an exercise that will have both light word and heavy word, and you need to identify what status is that. Okay. So again, so we have done the charts, masculine and feminine chart, feminine chart. Each of them has 2 versions: masculine heavy, masculine light, feminine heavy, feminine light. And what is the difference? Very simple difference. No double fatha, no double kasra in the singular column. Okay, and the last letter noon is gone for the light. Okay, that's it. If it comes with an al, as the brother said, it's irrelevant. It doesn't make light or heavy. As long as you see the al, it's not light, it's neither heavy. Okay, now we're going to talk about the next concept. Okay, it's called flexibility, and this is also part of status. We're still in the status. Okay, so status, first we find out how to find the status by looking at our chart, and that was a heavy chart, and now we know the light chart as well. Okay, and this chart is finished here actually. So the chart has 4 versions: masculine light, and masculine feminine light. Okay, so this total of four charts, and that's how it looks like. Okay, that's how it looks like. Okay, now the next thing that comes up, which is related to status, nothing to do with chart, but it has also its importance, and we need to know that flexibility as well. Okay, so let's do what is flexibility means. Okay, flexibility is not one of the 4 properties of ism, rather it is a subtopic under status. We understand that, right? This topic, just like light and heavy, deals with different forms the status markers can take. Okay, different form the status markers can take. So again, like as you said, the brother Ashfaq asked that, in terms of what, light and heavy. Okay, in terms of sound, this flexibility also same thing in terms of sound, but it has some extra things other than light and heavy. Okay, other than light and heavy. Okay, and let's look at that. So we are here, so we're talking about flexibility. There are 3 kinds of flexibility. fully flexible words, partly flexible word, and non-flexible word. What is flexible means? Flexible means someone who is flexible, okay? Meaning, if I say I'm flexible, meaning I'm flexible with my time, right? Okay, I can talk to you in the morning, maybe I'm available in the afternoon, so that's flexible. Okay? Flexible means what the word can change in different forms, okay? All the heavy words that we have learned in the chart, they're all fully flexible because they change with the status. Sometimes they're un, sometimes they're an, sometimes they're in. Okay, so they're always changing for three different status. Okay, the dual column where we have ani for rafa and aini for nasab and jar, right? They also changing. Yeah, you can say, brother, nasab and jar doesn't change. Yeah, but they're still same. They change from the rafa to this one. So the word has some change, so they become flexible. So all those words are flexible words. Okay, so let's look. So this kind of flexible word only pertains to the words that have ending sound. So one thing is easy for flexibility. Flexibility only works on the singular column. So we don't need to talk about ani, aini, una, ina. Okay, so these are not flexibility. These are only heavy, or it can be heavy or light. Okay, the flexibility works only on a singular column. And the words that have double fatha, double kasra, double dhamma, because they're changing the sound because of their status. Rafa is un sound, nasab is an sound, yar is in sound. These are flexible, fully flexible words. Okay. There are three kinds of flexibility: fully flexible, partly flexible, non-flexible. So these are the regular Arabic words. They take tanween, kasra normally. Take a look at the Muslim chart for good example of fully flexible word, like the word that we did. Okay, what is partly flexible? So this is very important. Okay, what is partly? There are some words they doesn't change with the change of their status, rafa, nasab, or jar. Okay, they change little bit. They partly change. What are these things? So partly flexible words have special rules that apply to them. There are two categories of partly flexible words. They could be either name of places or non-Arab names. So partly flexible words can be of two types, two categories. Any name of the places or non-Arab names. Now, what is non-Arab names? Okay, we're going to talk about that. Okay, Muhammad is an Arabic name, obviously, but there are many, many names in the Quran. They are non-Arab names. Okay, for example, all the prophets, most of the prophets actually are non-Arabic names. We learn from our childhood that Ibrahim is a Yusuf. These are all Arabic names. They are not Arabic. Why they are not Arabic? Because these prophets came, much before the Arabic language, and maybe they're not in Arab land. Even if they're what language they speak. So these people, they are not from the Arab only. For example, Ibrahim alayhi salam is from the land of Babylon. He was born there. He came into Arab land. He built the Kaaba and everything. But he's not an Arab prophet in terms of language and everything. Same with Sulaiman. Same with Musa, Isa, and all these things. Okay, there are only 4 prophets in the Quran. They're Arabic prophets, and I'll show you the names. Who are the Arabic prophet names? Okay, so these ones and some of the examples of places. In Quran there are name of places like Makkah is there. Okay, and also we have Yasrib, which is a previous name of Medina. Egypt is mentioned in the Quran as Misr. So any name of the places also comes under partly flexible. Okay, and the partly flexible words has some rules applied to them. What are these rules? The rules are they can never have tanween, meaning they are always light. Meaning they are always light. So this is one of the reason a word become light. Remember I said 4 reasons. Okay, and actually one of them we are running today. Partly flexible words are always light. They cannot have double fatha, double kasra, double dhamma. Okay, for example, if you look through the whole Quran, you'll find the word Muhammadun, Muhammadan, Muhammadin. You'll never find Ibrahimun, Ibrahiman, Ibrahimin, or Yusufun, Yusufan, or Sulaimanun, Sulaimanin. No, they don't have fatha, kasra, dhamma. They're always light, always light. Partly flexible words are always light. And they cannot have kasra in their last letter. So meaning, for example, the singular column that we said, Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin. Okay, let's talk about the light because we're talking. We know that partly flexible cannot be heavy. So if we say Muslimu, Muslima, and Muslimi, the word Ibrahim, for example, I'm just giving an example. Even there are many other partly flexible words. You cannot have a jar Ibrahim with kasra. These words can never have kasra at the end. There's no rule for that. Okay, so they have their nasab is also a sound, jar is also a sound. The Rafa is U sound, just like normal. But Nasab and Jar both has A sound. They cannot have E sound at the end. Okay, the partly flexible words. So remember two things about partly flexible words. Number one, they are always light. They cannot have double fatha, double kasra, double dhamma. Okay, that doesn't mean that any light word is partly flexible. No, please try to understand. Partly flexible word, which is a bunch of word, not too many. Maybe let's think about like maybe 50 words. Okay, I mean, don't quote me on that. It could be 50 less or more. Okay, there's not too many names. There are not too many names of the Quran, right? You know, we have 25 prophets names anyway, and some of the names are there. Like for example, Iblis is a name, Pharaoh is a name, Haman is a name. So there's some name. Maryam is a name. Okay, so there's few names there, and there are few names for places also. As I said, Makkah, you know, Egypt, and all these things, right? So all these words, they are partly flexible words. They are always light. But that doesn't mean a light word is always possible. For example, I asked the brother question, Rabbi, the word Rabbi is light. It's not partly flexible word. Rabbi could be Rabbun and Rabban and Rabban. That's fine. Okay. But partly flexible word, which we only a bunch of word, a small group of word, they are always light, they cannot be heavy. And also they can only take Dhamma, like U sound and A sound. They cannot have E sound. So if I give you a word with A sound, and which you know this word is from partly flexible group, and I ask you what is the status? Is it Rafa, Nasab, or Jar? Your answer should be Nasab or Jar, because you don't know A sound could be for Nasab and A sound could be for Jar. And again, partly flexible words, a bunch of words. Okay, we don't have to memorize all of them. But that's why we give a category. If you see the word meaning to a name of a place, obviously you know Makkah is the name of a place. Okay, now the word Medina is different. Okay? I should tell you now. What Medina, if I say I'm going to Medina now, all of you understand I'm going to the city of Medina, right? Because that's the only place. But Medina actually means city. The word Medina is a word called city. You know, the English word CIT. If I say I'm going to city now by taking a train, okay, the Arabic word for city is Medina. But because Prophet ﷺ went there and, you know, it became the name Medina, okay, so every Medina means that's that place where the Masjid of Prophet ﷺ is there, his grave is there, okay. But in fact, you know, the word Medina means any city. You know, for example, if you read Surah Al-Yasin, okay, where Allah talks about the story of, you know, Allah sent two prophets, then he sent another prophet, okay, and they went to a city, you will see the word Medina. But that Medina doesn't mean the Medina there. It's somewhere else in the world, okay? We don't know which city, but Allah is giving us a story. So the word Medina is a normal word. It's not a name of a place, okay? Yes, it means that place in our current language, but in the Quran, it may mean the Medina that's in the Saudi Arabia, or it could mean any city. So Medina is not a partly flexible word. Medina is not a partly flexible word, okay? Makkah is, because it's a place. Allah mentioned the name Makkah, okay? There's another place, as I say, in Misr. Misr means Misr or Egypt, right? That is another place, okay? So some of the places are like this. And in Jahannam, actually, the word Jahannam is also the name of a place, okay? You know, so, you know, in Bangla, we say Jahannam, you know? So if you're angry, so this guy is Jahannam. But in Arabic, you never find a word called Jahannami because it cannot take kasra. Okay? It could be Okay, well, we are back. I think there's some issues there. Let me share my screen.